Because here is Brian Chambers. He's going to celebrate his win here at Michigan. He's going to do it in style with the burnout. Oh, Sturgill sliding in to celebrate as well. Alright guys, with that, we're going to go to a quick commercial break. When we come back, we're going to have driver interviews. Make sure you guys stay tuned. Oh, Sanchez has gone from an almighty flip. He got hit by the wall monster. That's where we see him flipping back onto his wheels. That was an incredible flip. I'm here going into turn one.
Shit, my bad, Travis. I was trying to go down.
25 of Brandon Miller behind him, who just went through him a little bit. Sam does have an issue with being low on blinker fluid. Not sure if that's what caused that or not. Oh, Sanchez. Very lucky not to hit Sam head on there. Damn. Hello everyone and welcome to the Martinsville Speedway for the Melon 150 here for the Output Racing League on the Aussie Sim Commentators channel. And big field of cars signed up for this race at the moment. 23 registered in all. Current strength of the field is a 2.8k. And we'll wait and see how that one's going to go later on when there's some more people in. Just having a look at who's out and about on track. Did hear some rumblings that they were going to do a pit party here shortly. So we'll waiting for that. Currently Christian Budd, top of the pops. He has a 19.267 as his fast time. Thomas Harmer currently P2. Got Travis Barnes in third, Corey Cook fourth. Fifth is Brian Pizzakemi, although everyone just got bumped down one by Chris Champeau, who was in sixth, as he has moved up into second. PJ O'Leary seventh, Joe Slimer eighth, Thad Baylor ninth, and Travis Massey are sitting in 10th. So I'm guessing a few people probably got frustrated with waiting for this pit party to start, and some people have just gone straight out on track and not worried about it, which is a little bit disappointing to see. Normally these guys are pretty good about it. There is PJ Leary, currently in 5th. Joe Slammer in the 9. He's just going along the pit road. Oh, Hunter Johnson in the 48.106. Big time into the fence there. Alright, looks like we actually do have the pit party starting up now. I'll probably have to take a couple laps, just because it is such a small track, and they have to get somewhat organised. People still trying to figure out where they're going to be positioned. Looks like we're being led away by the 61 of the Cookie Monster himself, Corey Cook. On his outside will be Thad Faylor in the 21. Like we're going to go one more time, as they're just not quite organised yet. Christian Budd in row 2 with the 47, Andrew Perkins. There's Jonas Marquez in the 64 and the 7 of Kyle Kraus. There's your first 3 rows for the pit party. Quarter 2. Jonathan Hernandez getting loose there as he was warming up his tyres. We're off and racing. A bit of wheel spin there for 21. Was a bit of check up and outside line. 47's been booted around. Joe Slammer in a 9 has caused some havoc in turn 2. Multiple people around in that little situation, damn. There's Jonathan Hernandez. He's currently outside the top 10 in 11. He'll be hoping to pick up the pace here a little bit and get a little bit further up the order. Oh, Kraus had a big spin coming off of turn 2 to the tyre barrier at the end of pit exit he went. A tyre barrier, it's actually a sand barrier, sand barrels. Oh, Travis Barnes got into Ken Campbell there a little bit. Campbell very down the order at the minute. There's Thomas Harmon in the 38. We're actually doing a 150 lap race in this one. Well, Sad Failor is going into the pits just as Jonas Marquez wanted to make an overtake. Joe Slammer in the 9. He's currently in 9th. It's Frank Isaacson in the 24. He's up in P16. Scott Rickard in the 50 just ahead of him. Rickard forcing his way up on the inside of Hernandez there. Nice little move. Oh, and around goes Kraus. Coming out of turn 4. Luckily, no one to slam into him there. Oh, Rickard's gone around as well. PJ O'Leary's involved, so too the 2 of Jonathan Hernandez. As I said, we have 25 people signed up for this race, including myself being the 26th person in the server. We have a strength of field of 29.57. And we still have a few minutes before the end of practice here for people to join in on the shenanigans from the league. And this is a really decent sized field actually. There's Joe Slammer. As I said, he's in P9. He's a 0.169 off the top time set by Christian Budd. Oh, Mark Pentacuff contacted the outside wall, spun into the inside wall. He's currently down in P20. Go back to looking at Slammer. He's got Harmon and Champeau right behind him. And they'll be breathing down his neck here, something fierce in a minute. Just up in front of these guys is Watson, Budd, and the Cookie Monster himself, Corey Cook. I did run an AI race to maybe try and predict who was going to get the win. And it came down to a pit strategy race in which Ken Campbell won, so we'll have to keep an eye on Ken Campbell's progress as the Cookie Monster turned Mark Pentacuff. And they both ended up on the inside wall there in turn 4. Thomas Harmon, Chris Champeau, Brian Pizzakemi's there, and Joe Slammer. Oh, and around goes Champeau. Oh, PJ O'Leary. That Valor, nowhere to go for either of them. Straight into him. Those head-on crashes look brutal. As Robert Holder goes around in the 19. Shenanigans in pit road, possibly. between Perkins and Pizzacchemi. Perkins wiping out a couple of the pit crews there. Slama practicing a pit entry. Not sure if he's going to actually perform a green flag stop, but hey, practice is never a bad thing. We now only have about 3 minutes left in practice. Still good enough for about 9 laps. They get about 3 laps per minute, running just under 20-second lap times. Oh, Perkins got loose there in the middle of the straightaway and thumped the wall. Thad jerked it to the left, and he immediately went into the inside wall. Good thing to safe a barrier on that inside wall. Oh, Marquez was checking up for Andrew Perkins. The shenanigans on the front straight are incredible. As we know from history, the more shenanigans field practice is, generally the cleaner the race is going to be. Although, we don't know that for sure around here since it is Martinsville, and anything and everything generally happens at Martinsville. This has been the site of some of the longest races in output history, just by virtue of how many cautions we tend to get. Drivers Council just trying to figure some things out. Oh, PJ Leary caught up in some more shenanigans, but that is the end of practice there. So stay tuned. Qualifying will be coming up shortly. Welcome back to the Hail Melon 150 here from the Martinsville Speedway on the Aussie Sim Commentator channel. For the Output Racing League, qualifying is complete, and Chris Champeau tops the pops with a 19.197 on his outside, and P2 will be the 17 of Christian Budd. P3 will be the 38 of Thomas Harmon. P4 the 29 of PJ O'Leary. P5 will be the 50 of Scott Rickard, with P6 the 9 of Joe Slammer. P7 will be the 7 of Kyle Kraus, with P8 the 10 of Travis Barnes. P9 will be the 15 of Ken Campbell. P10 the 39 of James Watson. Having a look at the rest of your field, we've got the 61 of Corey Cook, the 24 Frank Isaacson, 47 Andrew Perkins, the 13 Travis Massier, the 93 Matt Sassola, the 64 Jonas Marquez, the 68 of Andrew Griesbaum, the 18 of Brian Harris, the 2 of Jonathan Hernandez, and the 21 of Thad Failer. Up to your top 20. Thad is the last possible driver to get the Hard Charger Award. And then we have Hunter C. Johnson in the 48 106, Robert Holder in the 19 78 of Brian Pizzacami, and Mark Pentacuff down to 24th. Corey Williamson in the 81 is slated to start from 25th. It seems he might have some post-qualifying tech issues. He is not on the grid and he is not in the pits. Two pace laps around this paperclip track. 150 laps ahead of us for racing. I think that's about 75 miles of driving. But here we go. So pace car is going to make that hard left turn into the pit lane. The field will come around turn 3 and 4. First start is on green. All the restarts will be on the leader in the restart zone. And we're off and racing. A great jump from the 17 of Christian Budd on the outside line there. Absolutely trouncing the 92 of Chris Champeau. Let's have a look through the rest of the field. There's going to be some stack up through. Look at that, 3 wide on the back straight there. And there's still a lot of chaos and confusion as people are just trying to find their groove. As we have one lap complete. Christian Budd leading away from Chris Champeau, Thomas Harmon, PJ O'Leary, and Scott Rickard in 5th. The top half dozen or so have started to break away from the rest of the pack a little bit, as they have found their little bit of space to drive in, and they're taking it from there. The rest of the field still fairly bunched up, as everyone's just trying to figure out what to do with their cars, where to put them and everything. Of course, we did do some pit parties, which generally helps with getting people to figure out what to do with their cars in a group situation. But you never know what's going to happen, quite like getting into race conditions. See a battle here between Campbell and Barnes. Campbell driving Barnes up the track a little bit, and that'll put Campbell up into 7th if he can make the move stick. Barnes doing very well to hold on the outside, but he has a big lock-up, and Barnes is going to lose out on a couple of positions there, put him down into 9th, possibly 10th, as Joe Slammer was up on his inside as well. Looking at the 24 Frank Isaacson, he's just behind the Slammer and Barnes battle, and Barnes just stuck there on the outside. If he can't get down, he's going to absolutely burn up his right front, but it looks like he's got the gap now. 24 Frank Isaacson pulled out of the line. Looked like he was going to try and make a move on Corey Cook, but he couldn't quite get there. And not much has changed in the top 10. A couple of people up a couple other people down a few. Like Joe Slammer is actually down 3 from where he started, but he probably started on the outside. Jonathan Hernandez and Hunter Johnson both up 4 and 5 respectively. And as I said, Hernandez is one of those in line for the Hard Charger Award. That's provided he can make something out of this race, that is. Frank Isaacson doing a good job here, sitting back there in 12th. Oh, did hook the curb there a little bit. You don't want to do that too often. Damage your car, damage your tyres, damage your chances. Andrew Perkins in the 47 is just in behind him. Christian Budd hasn't exactly been able to get away from Chris Champeau, but Chris Champeau has definitely gotten away from Thomas Harmon. There's about a second between our second and third place drivers. Oh, and around goes Perkins. That has brought out our first caution of the race. Let's back this up and have another look at it. See what happened to the driver of the 47. Because it might have just been a simple lockup going into turn 1. Oh, and indeed it was. He got way too deep into the corner. Just about tapped the back of Frank Isaacson. Lucky that he kept it off him. And spun him out and into the outside fence he goes. A little bit of left rear damage. It was fairly light contact though, so he should be right to continue on. And that is our first caution on lap number 12. As the field has caught up to the pace car. Couple of people towards the back of the pack who have come into the pits. The 78, the 13. So Pizzakemi, Travis Masia, and of course the 47 is in there as well, getting some damage fixed. Now with the restart, the 17 of Christian Budd will be able to choose what lane he wants to drive in. And then he can go at any time that he desires inside of the restart box. It's looking like the inside will probably be the call for the 17 car. Lights go out on the pace car. We're 1 to green. Field tightens up. And I think we're going to take this opportunity to do a fairly early crank it up.
Go. Green flag.
And the caution is out once more. Saw the 24, Frank Isaacson was around there. Back this up and see what happened to Frank. And there's a lot of lock-up smoke ahead of him. Oh, there it is just ahead of him. The 39 and the 10 get together. And Travis Barnes gets put around. Oh, Jonas Marquez, nowhere to go, absolutely launches Frank up in the air. Mark Pentecoff catches a little piece of that as well. Frank, very lucky not to go over. And that has brought out our second caution of this race on lap number 18. Of course, Frank is in the pits now getting some repairs completed on his automobile. And the 47 of Andrew Perkins is going to be the lucky dog wave around as he's making his way around the field now. Now, a no-stop race is technically possible. I don't think we would get a no-stop race though, but it is technically possible. Tell Christian Budd is ready and raring to go. Had a really good restart on that last one too. So too did Chris Champeau in a 92. Thomas Harmon back there in third. Scott Rickard in fourth. Let's go through the entire field as the 5 of Mark Pentecoff, the only car in the pits still. So it's Bud, Champeau, Harmon, Rickard, O'Leary, Campbell, Slama, Kraus, Cook, and Hernandez is your top 10. And it's Sosola, Griesbaum, Watson, Baylor, Massia, Johnson, Isaacson, Harris, Barnes, Marquez, Perkins, and then Holter, Pizzacchemi, and Pentecoff. Although Pentecoff is going to jump in front of Holder and Pizzacchemi. All right, here we go now for the restart.
Go.
And we're
Green
racing.
flag.
Great start that time for the 38 of Thomas Harmon. He's going to stick it right up on the inside of Chris Champeau this time. Chris trying to battle back on the outside. The outside is a viable passing opportunity if you can make it stick. But you've got to do it very quickly or else your tyres will overheat and burn up very quickly. So Chris Champeau doing a very good job of it at the moment. Just holding that 38 of Thomas Harmon at bay. And it looks like he is going to maintain that second place, almost pulling up to the side of the 17 machine. And we have another caution on the track. Big stack up coming out of turn 4. Travis Massia is involved in it. Let's see what happened here. Oh, Massia got pooted around from the 10 of Travis Barnes. Jonas Marquez just sneaking through it. 47 of Andrew Perkins just gets through as well. The 5, Mark Pentecoff, gives a little kiss to the 13. The 18 as well of Ryan Harris. Very good job there to avoid any contact. And that is the third caution of this race. And it looks like the 10 of Travis Barnes has gotten out of town and gotten out of here. So he'll be officially scored as a DNF. Now Christian Poe will have it all to do once more from that outside lane, assuming that Christian Budd once more is going to choose the inside. So your front order is Christian Budd, Chris Champeau, Thomas Harmon, Scott Rickard, PJ O'Leary, Ken Campbell, Joe Slammer, Jonathan Hernandez, Corey Cook, and Andrew Griesbaum. And then your 11 to 20 is going to be Kraus, Sasola, Watson, Baylor, Isaacson, Perkins. That's just down to 16th because a lot of people have pitted throughout between there and there. So we'll get that updated as soon as we can. It looks like it's going to be Perkins in 15th and Isaacson, Johnson, Pentacuff, Marquez, Harris, Piscami, Masia, and Holder are all coming out of the pits now. But we're getting ready to go back to green. And we're off and racing. Another great jump there for the 17 of Christian Budd. Battle is on behind him once more, the side-by-side between Champeau and Harmon. And it looks like Harmon actually gave Champeau the space that time and just let him in. He doesn't want to battle that one out too hard. We're going to go to focus on crashes because we never know where a crash is going to come from. This is one of those tracks where it's very easy to make a silly little mistake as around goes to 7. Another big stack up. That one was off the nose, the 39. James Watson will slow this down as they get into the corner. There's just a little bit of checkup from Kraus as he didn't want to get into the back of that car ahead of him. And unfortunately, Watson was just unprepared for it. Got Watson. It's got Isaacson, the 48-106 is in there as well. Jonas Marquez, Mark Pentacuff. Brian Harris looks like he stopped to avoid any contact, same too for the 78 of Piscami. It looks like, unfortunately, a few of these guys will be unable to get into the pits to get their repairs done as they've been caught behind the pace car but in front of the pack. Mark Pentacuff currently the only car one lap down. And since he was involved in that one, he doesn't get the lucky dog. Now this could very well be one of those races where we actually reach the time limit. So we'll have to make sure we keep an eye on the time limit as well. If we went green the whole way, this would have been maybe about a 48-minute race. But that at the moment is not the case. Let's go through your field once more. The top 10 is largely unchanged. Bud Champo, Harmon, Rickard, O'Leary, Campbell, Hernandez, Slama, Cook, and Sasola. Then it's Griesbaum, Failor, Perkins, Pentacuff, Kraus, Pizzacami, Harris, Johnson, Isaacson. Of course, Massio, Holder, Marquez, and Watson are caught behind the pace car. Oh wait, it said before that Pentacuff was a lap down, but I guess not. And Travis Barnes, the only DNF in this race, down in 24th. Corey Williamson, a DNS. But here we go once more, Christian Budd to lead us away in the restart zone. The pace car goes in. And we're green.
Go, go, go. Green flag.
Another really good jump there from the 17 of Christian Budd. An even better jump this time for the 38 Thomas Harmon. He is door to door with the 92 of Chris Champeau, trying to take that second place away. Although if I was him, I would probably want to sit back there in third for a little bit longer, and it looks like that is going to be the way as the 92 clears and gets into second, my apologies. Going back to focusing on crashes, we're back towards the back of the pack where some of the damaged cars are from previous crashes. So one car right up near the fence, that's the 93 Matt Sasola. And Sasola is dropping like a stone at the minute. This time it looks like the field has strung out quite a bit more, but as I said, just one small mistake, you know, just 3 foot deeper into a braking zone, and everything could just be absolutely blotted for you. Even just the amount of pressure you put on your brake pedal can change the way this race will go. Doesn't take much to lock up these cars in the braking zone, as we have seen telltale signs of lock-up smoke all throughout this race so far. Side by side is Perkins and Johnson. Johnson in the 48 106, and the 47 is of course Perkins. But Johnson takes that one, takes over the 13th position, as we are now just about to complete lap 42, start lap 43. And it looks like now we're actually getting into a little bit of a groove here, as the guys have gotten most of the crashing out of their system by the looks of things. So this will be a solid opportunity for them to get some laps under their belts, get some wear on these tyres and burn off a bit of fuel. And the highest car who has been down in the pit lane is the 7 of Kyle Kraus. He's up there in the 12th position. It's down 5 from where he started, but he is knocking on the precipice of the top 10. Frank Isaacson, that car looks very beat up, the 24 Autism Awareness Team Kraus car. Just ahead of him is team captain Kyle Kraus, trying to make the move on Thad Failor. That is going to be for the 11th position. And Hunter Johnson there in the 48 106 is going to follow seat into 12th. But Thad Failor just stuck there on the outside line. He'll have to sneak in behind Frank Isaacson if he can't get down in front of him. There's the 2 of Jonathan Hernandez. He's in P6 at the minute. And everything seems to be just going gravy at the minute. There's a few gaps forming in between some of these cars. So we might get some solid green flag running here. As the 17 of Christian Bud is starting to catch up to a few people at the very back of the pack. So I think what we're going to do here is we're going to go to a quick commercial break. And when we come back, we'll see if these guys are going to eventually do some green flag stops. So make sure you guys stay tuned. Well, welcome back to the Hail Melon 150 here at the Martinsville Speedway for the Output Racing League on the Aussie Sim Commentator channel. The 17 of Christian Bud absolutely flying away with this race at the moment. He has nearly a full second over Chris Champeau at the moment. Of course, Chris Champeau's size will be a little bit second hand from all those restarts on the outside line. So he hasn't really been able to keep up with Christian Bud all too well. We do have a few cars a lap down, including the 19 of Robert Holder, who's just gone into the pits. The 5 of Mark Pentacuff has gone a lap down. And so too is one other. I'm not sure who it is, but I'm sure we'll find out eventually. There's Jonathan Hernandez and Ken Campbell battling out over P6. Frank Isaacson in 13th. Just in a little bit of a battle all on his own there. As the field has definitely calmed down now since we had all those cautions in a row. The 4 cautions so far. The 5 of Mark Pentacuff gets shuffled down even further. I think Robert Holder was the other car that actually went a lap down. So now that he's in the pits, he's going even more laps down. Travis Barnes is the only retirement for the race in a 10. So he's officially scored as 24th. And Corey Williamson did not start this race. Oh, Hunter Johnson. He hit the fence and then he started blinking out. And it looks like he is no longer corporeal with this world. I don't think he would have hit the incident limit. Looks like Robert Holder has decided to quietly exit the race. And possibly Hunter Johnson as well. Having a look at your running order right now, we've got Christian Bud leading the way and he has a 1.7 second lead over the 92 of Chris Champeau in second, who has Thomas Harmon right on his tail. These guys have been battling out pretty severely over the last few restarts, and their battle will continue on here. And we go back to the 4th place PJ O'Leary in the 29, and he is locked in mortal combat with the 50 of Scott Rickard, who just got into his tail a little bit there coming out of turn 2. And that has just invited the 15 of Ken Campbell into this little battle. Behind Ken is the 61, the Cookie Monster himself, Corey Cook. And he is locked in mortal combat with Joe Slama. Just behind them, the 2 of Jonathan Hernandez, who was making some really good ground up earlier and has dropped off a little bit. Just behind him, the first car to have gone through the pits, and he's up in the top 10, is Kyle Kraus in 10th. Great to see Kyle having a good run. And then we go back to the 68 of Andrew Griesbaum, as he is in 11th, just behind him. Frank Isaacson, although Griesbaum with a big tail wag coming down the back straight there. He was so lucky to keep that going in a somewhat straight line. We had Thad Faylor in the 21. He's back there in 13th. And here's another one to have not pitted. And just behind him, the 78, Brian Pizzakemi, who has made several trips down the pit lane. And he's looking pretty racy right now. And we had a 93 of Mattson. Oh no, Frank Isaacson has gone around. This is all going through the field. Let's see what happened here to Frank. Coming out of turn 4. Does he just give it too many beans and go around? And yeah, that's exactly what's happened. Oh, that's unfortunate. Frank was having such a good run up there as well. Was all the way up in 12th. But he decided to spin it out into the inside fence. That's pretty solid contact there. All 4 wheels got off the ground. Some rear contact as well to add to his collection of rear wood damage. And I'm just having a look. Everyone has pitted. Everyone is in the pit lane right now. There'll be a lot of people getting repairs done. A lot of people just getting tires and fuel. And most of them will probably go the rest of the way from here. This is just about the halfway point. Frank Isaacson now comes into the pits. And we'll get a running order here very shortly. So it's going to be Bud, Champeau, Harmon, Kraus, Campbell, O'Leary, Cook, Slama, and Hernandez for your top 10. And Griesbaum, Pizzakemi, Baylor, Sasola, Watson, Perkins, Marquez, Harris, Massier, Pentacuff, and Isaacson. We've got no one lap down, which is great to see. And unfortunately, 3 DNFs, 1 DNS. You see once more Christian Budd has chosen the inside line. Kyle Kraus all the way up into P4. He's looking pretty good up there after being mired in the back of the pack with a couple of incidents. But here we go, we're getting ready for green. And we're racing.
Green flag.
Another really good jump there for the 17 of Christian Budd. 92 of Chris Champeau with fresh tyres, so too the 38 Thomas Harmon. And they're both giving them a workout here with their side-by-side battling through the corners again. This time Thomas Harmon thinks he has a shot with taking over the second place. As a little bit wide was Chris Champeau that time. That would definitely lead him into being in a good position. A little bit of a door tap there from the 38 of Harmon. Another one from both of them as they're coming out of turn 4. I can see someone in the back of the pack has gone into the pits. That is the 18 of Brian Harris. As now Chris Champeau is possibly going to get clear. Almost contact in turn 4. But Champeau takes it over quite nicely. Go focusing on crashes now, see what we can see throughout the field. For the most part, people are single filed out, but there's still a couple of side-by-side battles going on. And again, one small lapse in concentration, and this entire race could change. There's a whole lot of smoke there coming out of turn 4. We don't have a caution, no one's gone around, so it was possibly nothing. And maybe someone was just trying to take the seal off the outside of the tyre. The 5 of Mark Pentecup has gone into the pits. There's a 2 of Jonathan Hernandez. He's sitting back there in 10th. And just behind him, James Watson in the 39. He's got a lot of damage on that Team Watson racing car. And up there in 11th, doing a fairly good job. But yeah, it looks like most people have single filed out once more. I don't think we're going to get anything immediately. But we do know safety cars breed safety cars. But that's usually after at least one heat cycle for these tyres where we tend to see it. And here goes the 47, Andrew Perkins. He's looking to the inside of the 68 of Griesbaum. Team Watson versus Team Kraus. This is for the 13th position. And Perkins takes that really nicely. Just slips in up in front of him. But this looks to be where everything is starting to just settle down a bit. People are just starting to get some solid laps in. And we have another caution on the track. Someone on the back straight. It's the 18. 18 of Brian Harris. Let's see what happened to Brian here. Coming out of turn 2. Another car with a lot of damage on it. And it looks like he just gets loose there coming out of the corner. Gives it a little bit too much jandle. He's kept it off the outside wall. Kept it off the inside wall too. And just pulls it up before the leaders get to him. so he doesn't interrupt their race and cause some damage to them. So some very heads-up driving there, Brian Harris. And that is the 6th caution of this race. The cautions are flying thick and fast around here. We're already 35 minutes into this race, 88 laps complete. Sounds like Christian Budd running in a low gear, trying to use up some of the gas in his car. So he possibly overfueled a little bit in that pit stop. I thought if he was trying to use up fuel, he would run the outside line a little bit here under pace laps. So let's have a look at your order as it stands. It's Bud, Champeau, Harmon, Campbell, Rickard, O'Leary, Slama, Cook, Hernandez, and Watson as your top 10. And it's Falo, Perkins, Isaacson, Kraus, Griesbaum, Massio, Marquez, Sisola. Brian Pizzakemi is in 19th. Brian Harris, 4 laps down. Mark Pentecoff still in the pits, currently 13 laps down. As the lights are out on the pace car, we're going to go green this time by. Now, if I was Thomas Harmon in the 38, I would probably try and take second place here. But we'll wait and see how he goes as the pace car is in. And we're green. An excellent jump for the inside line that time. Into second place goes Thomas Harmon. And around goes Chris Champeau in front of the field. That was unfortunate. He was looking to slot into third. And then I think he got a tap there. Oh, I see what it is. They're kind of 3 wide there. And I think he didn't realize it. I think he only thought they were 2 wide. And he's come down across the nose of the 15 of Ken Campbell. And unfortunately, a lot of cars are caught up in this. You got Campbell, you got Rickard, Hernandez, Perkins, Baylor. In the background, Griesbaum's gone around, Marquez. And looks like the 47 is possibly going to have a penalty there for going through the pit lane. But we'll see about getting that cleared up. But there is unfortunately the now damaged car of Chris Champeau as he comes into the pit lane. And yeah, that one's a hard one to call. Because as I said, he would have had the radio call of only being 2 wide. But they were indeed actually 3 wide, given the way that they were stacked. So that one's possibly just a little bit of a racing deal. As we're going to get ready for a restart once more. I think we'll get the one to green this time. And that would have shuffled the field up quite a bit as well. So, the running order. In fact, we're on 2 to green, so we'll get the 1 to green this time by. We've got Bud, Harmon, O'Leary, Cook, Hernandez, Watson, Kraus, Massio, Perkins, Sosola, Griesbaum, Campbell, Isaacson, Faylor, Champo, Rickard, Slama, Marquez, Pizzakemi. That's down to 19th. Harris is 3 laps down in 20th, so he was a lucky dog. He got one of his laps back. Then Johnson, Holder, and Barnes DNFs from this race. There we go. There's the 1 to green. Now leader experimenting with some alternate dimensions here under pace laps. Thomas Harmon hasn't started on the outside row yet. The pace car goes in, so he's going to have to battle PJ O'Leary here for the inside run. And here we go.
Go. Green flag.
Another really good jump there for the 17 of Christian Budd. And a pretty good jump there for Harmon as well, as he slots straight into second. Let's focus on crashes, see what we got going on throughout the field. 61, Corey Cook, stuck on the outside. He's going to get shuffled a little bit here by the looks of things. And 2 for the 13 and the 93. That's Travis Massey and Matt Sosola. Ken Campbell, who was involved in that one, who fell back quite a bit. He's trying to work his way back up through the field, as Travis Massey gets right out of the way of everyone. He doesn't want to be in anyone's way, which is very understandable. Mark Bensakoff has come back onto the track. Oh, there's contact. And another big stack up. Pizzakemi almost went over there. We have a caution. I think that one started with the 24 of Isaacson. Let's have a look here. The Joe Slama, very late diving move to the inside. And it looks like initially Frank gives him space. And possibly Slama coming up the track a little bit there, just holding too much speed. Unfortunately, Pizzakemi nowhere to go. And Chris Champo similarly nowhere to go, getting right up underneath, almost flipping the Pizzakemi car. And everyone rolls up from there, and we've got another caution in this race. So we're going to take this opportunity to go to a commercial break. And when we come back, we should be going to the checkered flag. So make sure you guys stay tuned. More action from the Hale Melon 150 will be coming up shortly. Welcome back to the Hail Melon 150 here on the Aussie Sim Commentator channel for the Output Racing League from the Martinsville Speedway. Christian Bud leading the way once more as we just get the one to green. It was Bud, Harmon, O'Leary, Hernandez, Watson, Krause, Perkins, Griezbaum, Sisola, Valor, Isaacson, Marquez, Cook, Massier, Campbell, Slama, Champo, Pizzakemi, Brian Harris 2 laps down, Scott Rickard is a DNF from that last caution. We've got Mark Pentakoff 21 laps down in 21st, and it's Johnson, Holder, and Barnes, all DNFs wrapping up the field down to 24th. As we get ready to go green here, Christian Bud, very used to this restarting from the inside thing. And we're off and racing. Another excellent restart. And PJ O'Leary gets a slightly better restart, but he just can't quite get up on the inside of Thomas Harmon there. I mean, he definitely tried that time. He had his nose in for the entire first and second corners. Just couldn't quite get there. As the two of Jonathan Hernandez trying to battle him to take over the third position. This is going to be a pretty tight battle here. Because this is for starting on the inside behind Christian Bud. And it looks like O'Leary is going to take that advantage and take it to the bank. Although you can never count out Hernandez. He is a tenacious fighter. Going to go look through the field. Look at this gaggle of cars. 4 wide. Isaacson on the outside. There was Pizzakemi in the middle and Chris Champo on the very inside. And this is towards the back of the pack. Champo, after being involved in that earlier incident, be absolutely furious and trying to race his way back up through the field towards the front. Master Solar and Corey Cook back there having a little bit of a battle as well. They are battling over the 10th position. In fact, they're battling over 9th, my apologies. Solar having a good run there up into 9th. Jonathan Hernandez, I'm pretty sure at the moment, is the hard charger contender. He's in 5th plus 14 for the race. I think the only one that can actually possibly beat him would be Thad Faylor. As Corey Cook marching his way through this top 10 at the minute. He's made his way into 8th underneath of Andrew Perkins. He's side by side with Griezbaum. And he takes that position too into 7th. Now he's going to have to try and march down Jonathan Hernandez in P6. Andrew Perkins still stuck on the outside line and unable to get down, although this is his opportunity. As he'll try and slot in front of Joe Slama, and he does so. We are in the final 35 laps of this race. Oh, as Slama's gone around. And that one was definitely involving the 15, Ken Campbell. And yeah, Campbell unfortunately just getting in there a little bit too hot. Just trying to race side by side with the 92 of Champo. And straight into the back of Slama he goes. Both cars are able to continue on. And we have quite a few people pitting this time. So the field is going to get shuffled once more. I think there's going to be a number of people coming out with some fresh tyres. This will bring people like Champo back up into the top 10. But Brian Harris was a lucky dog wave around. And he should actually be close to getting back onto the lead lap. I think he's only 1 lap down now. I'm just going to consult the standings real quick, see where everyone's at. So it's going to be Bud, Harmon, O'Leary, Kraus, Cook, Baylor, Champeau, Masia, Slama. Then James Watson, the first car to have pitted in P10. Hernandez, Griezbaum, Sisola, Isaacson, Marquez, Perkins, Pizzakemi, Campbell. Brian Harris is only 1 lap down now in 19th. And then Mark Pentacuff in 20th. And he's 21 laps down. As he's just overtaken Scott Rickard for position. And then, of course, Rickard, Johnson, Holder, and Barnes in that order OUT out of this race. And that's how one little slip of judgment can turn a decent race into a bad race for you. As we are now on the 1 to green. Pace car is in. And here we go once more. I think that's 9 cautions we've had.
Go.
We're off and racing. Another excellent start there for the 17 of Christian Budd. Another great restart as well for Thomas Harmon to immediately take the 2nd position. Have a look at some of these cars on fresher tyres trying to work their way through the field. Over the 39 and the 2, they are the first of those on fresh tyres. As just about 3 wide, both of those went with the 13. Oh, and Thad Faylor has gone around all by himself. Let's back this up and have a look at the replay. And yeah, you can see he's sideways before he even gets into the corner. Very lucky he didn't tap the side of the 92, and that Joe Slama in the 9 kept a very tight line there. And he just released the brakes enough to slip into that very outside line. Griezbaum fast thinking there to get back down. And that is officially the 10th caution in this race. Fred the flag marshal, who was vigorously waving his flag there, transitioned into just holding it up straight. The 18 of Brian Harris will now be back on the lead lap. He's going to make his way around the field. Now let's see how our order looks, since a few changes of position has taken place. It's going to be Bud, Harmon, Kraus, O'Leary, Cook, Campbell, Slama, Hernandez, Maciel, Watson as your top 10. Then Sisola, Marquez, Perkins, Griezbaum, Isaacson, Valor, Pizzakemi, Campbell, and Harris. And then Mark Pentacuff, the first car, a lap down, and he is still 21 laps down. And DNS from Rickard, Johnson, Holder, and Barnes. And we now have just 25 laps to go in this race. But how short of a track this is, those 25 laps will go very quickly, even with cautions. That means that we're going to get the restart here with about 23 to go. So those on fresh tyres, Hernandez and Watson, they're going to definitely have to get a wriggle on if they want to make something of this race. As we got the 1 to green signal. The pace car makes a hard left turn into the pit lane. 23 laps left in this man-made hell known as the paperclip. And we're off and racing.
Green flag.
Another really good start there from our leader, Christian Budd. Things got a little bit sketchy behind that front row there as the 7. Kyle Kraus didn't really get the great restart that he was expecting. 92 of Chris Champeau. Trying to get around the outside to 13. Travis Massia is sideways. It caused a little bit of chaos in the back of the pack, but it looks like they've all continued on nicely. And Chris Champeau has taken over the 4th position, so he's back up at the front once more. Jonathan Hernandez trying to make something of his fresh tyres as we've got a caution. In fact, we've had 2 crashes here. That was one of them. I didn't see what the first one was though. Let's see what happened to Thad. Oop, I hit the wrong button. And maybe it's that he gets into the 68 here of Griesbaum. He was well and truly up on the inside. I think Griesbaum came down a little bit across his nose. And that sent Griesbaum spinning into the outside. So that's where the caution actually came out. And you can see Thad trying to keep the thing under control, bouncing up on the curb. And he jammed on the brakes and got it pulled up on the inside line there. Small contact with the inside wall. And that won't incur him too much damage. And with that, Mark Pentecoff will get one of his laps back as the lucky dog wave around. And Thad Faylor, he's going to go a lap down here actually in the pits, possibly getting repairs done. Now let's see how the field is going to look. And it looks like PJ O'Leary got 3rd place there. Yeah, Kyle Kraus did not go on that restart. I'm not sure why. But he just seemed to be not exactly getting the jump there. It's going to be Bud, Harmon, O'Leary, Champeau, Kraus, Cook, Hernandez, Watson, Slama, and Sassola as your top 10. Jonathan Hernandez will be on the inside line now with his fresher tyres. There's going to be Marquez, Perkins, Isaacson, Campbell, Pizzakemi, Harris, Griesbaum, Massia to 18th. Thad Faylor 1 lap down will be in 19th. Mark Pentecoff in 20th, 20 laps down.
Go, go, go. Green flag.
Safety car coordinates flag. Safety car coordinates flag.
I just realized my mic was muted this entire time, and I humbly apologize.
Go, go, go. Green flag.
I've lost all sound, so I can't hear a damn thing. Yay. The 17 of Christian Budd leading the way quite handily now over the 38 of Thomas Harmon. And it looks like this is going to be the way it's going to run with the 92. Oh, Frank Isaacson. Good time into the outside fence there. Let's run this back and see what happened to Frank. It looks like he might have had some help. He was on the outside line there. And actually, no, he's sideways going into the corner already. And unfortunately, just too much speed. Into the outside fence he goes. And that is caution number 13 in this race. I'm going to try and figure out my sounds here real quick. Figure out what is going on. All right, I got it back. I can hear again. So Christian Budd going to be leading the way once more. We're only going to have just a few laps to go when we get the green flag here. We're at 5 to go now, and I'm pretty sure we're on 2 to green. So we're going to have just 3 laps left. Green, green, white, checkered. Unless we get another caution. Another quick rundown of the field before we go to the Wonder Green here. So Bud, Harmon, Champeau, Cook, O'Leary, Hernandez, Watson, Krauser, Sola, Slummer, Marquez, Campbell, Pizzakemi, Perkins, Amacio, Griesbaum, Harris, Baylor, and Isaacson. Mark Petticuff, 20th, 20 laps down. Get the Wonder Green here, and it looks like Frank's going to go a lap down in the pits. Here we go. This is where all the marbles are going to count. This is the restart that counts. And we're underway with just 3 laps to go. In fact, 2 laps to go in this race. There's already big drama on the front straight. Massive crash. Massive. I'm not sure what happened back there for the restart, but this will bring us to a green-white checkered situation. A lot of checkup throughout this back part of the field. You can see the accordion effect in full swing. And around goes Campbell off the nose of Perkins. The solo went around. Baylor and Griesbaum nowhere to go. Then once the solo went around, Perkins nowhere to go. And it looks like Harris was able to escape most of that. And, oh, that's a crabby car for the 21. So now we're in green-white checkered situations. And I think the 24, Frank Isaacson, will actually be the lucky dog here, as he was not involved in the incident. I'm pretty sure he was back on track by the time the caution came out. We should see him sweeping around the outside shortly to come back on the lead lap in 18th. There he goes. So here we go now for all the marbles. The first of 2 attempts at a green, white checkered finish. And this is where things are going to start getting really interesting. There's going to be Bud, Harmon, Champeau, Cook as your top 4. Then O'Leary, Hernandez, Watson, Kraus, Salama and Marquez are wrapping up the top 10. And then it's Pizzakemi, Masia, Harris, Sassola, Griezmann, Campbell, and Isaacson down to 17th. That Baylor has gone a lap down. He's in 19th. Andrew Perkins looks like he is OUT out of this race. And then Mark Pentacup, who was 34 laps down, in 20th. And Ricard, Johnson, Holder and Barnes are all OUT out of this race as well. But there was just so much check-up on that restart, as now we got the Wonder Green. First 2 attempts at a green-white checkered finish. If I was Chris Champeau and Corey Cook, I would be right on the tail of the car in front of them. Just about kissing their bumper on this restart. So here we go. Green white checker number 1.
Go, go, go. Green flag.
Another great start there from the 17 of Christian Budd. A little bit of wheel spin from the second row as the 38 Thomas Harmon sweeps through and takes over second. And we have a safety car once more. Big crash there in the middle of turns 1 and 2 to 13. Travis Massey involved, so too is the 93 of Matt Sassola. Let's see what's happened here. Now the 13 of Massey is on the inside. He gets into the back. Pizzakemi a little bit. Comes up the track. Sassola nowhere to go. Straight into him. And that is how we get the 15th caution of this race. Now this will be our last attempt at a green-white checkered finish. If we get a caution, the race will end under caution. The rundown of the field for this final caution as the 21 of Thad Faylor gets his lap back. Going to be Bud, Harmon, Champeau, Cook, Hernandez, Kraus, O'Leary, Watson, Slama, Marquez, Pizzakemi, Harris, Griezmann, Campbell, Isaacson, Sassola, Masia, Faylor. Got Andrew Perkins, who is DNF 9 laps down at the moment in 19th. Mark Pentacup, who's in the pits, he's currently 39 laps down. And then DNFs from Scott Rickard, Johnson, Holder and Barnes. Of course, DNFs for Corey Williamson. In fact, Mark Pentacup has just pulled the pin. He says 20th place is good enough for me. As we're on 2 to green now, you can hear the fuel saving tactics going on between Bud and Harmon right now. And by fuel saving, I mean they're trying to burn up as much of it as they possibly can, make these cars as light as they can for the restart. They're sitting there rolling around in first gear, trying to burn up as much fuel as possible. Because after a restart, there is no more. There we go, we're Wonder Green for the final attempt at a green-white checkered finish. If we get a caution, that will be the race, and it will end under caution. If we get to the white flag, then no matter what happens, we race to the checkered. Even if there's a crash in turn 4 and the leader has already taken the white flag. Here we go. This one is for all the marbles and then some. For the Melon 150 here at the Martinsville Speedway. The final restart of this race.
Green flag.
Excellent jump there for the 17 of Christian Budd. He is going to be so hard to beat. The battle is on for second as the 38 Thomas Harmon just squeezes out the 92 of Chris Champeau as they come down the back straight for the penultimate time into turns 3 and 4. And I don't think anyone is going to have any challenge for the 17 as the caution has come out. This race is going to end under caution, as that was the 64 of Jonas Marquez, who has gone around in turn 4. Just as we were about to get the white flag. Oh, PJ hit the curb, bounced up, around he went, around Marquez went. Oh, that was unfortunate for both of them. But that's the race right there. The race is officially over. Christian Budd with the win, Thomas Harmon P2, Chris Champeau 3rd, Corey Cook 4th, Kyle Kraus in 5th. Now we just got to wait for the victory burnouts, and then we'll get into the driver interviews. Here he comes, the champion of the Melon 150s. He's getting a congratulatory door slam from the 29 of PJ O'Leary. Here's the 17 of Christian Budd, already spinning it up in the Geico restart zone. The style and precision of the full front straight burnout. And just taps it into the fence. Alright, with that, we're going to go to driver interviews now, so stay tuned. Driver interviews coming up shortly. All right, guys, it's now time for driver interviews, and we're kicking things off as always with the Autism Awareness Hard Charger Award winner. And today's Hard Charger, starting all the way back in 19th position and working his way up into P7, is of course going to be the two of Mr. Jonathan Hernandez. So make sure you guys have a copy ready because this is going to be a long one. Jonathan. Um, Great effort, mate. Making your way up to P7 after what must have been the most horrible qualifying effort that you've ever put in here. Yep. All right, so I was just having a little look through, and I can confirm we had 16 cautions in this race. So pretty untypical as far as Output Racing League is concerned, but fairly typical for as far as Martinsville is concerned. All right, now let's talk about pit strategy real quick because I noticed that you and James Watson, the first two who came in on lap 117 for fresh tires, trying to make the most of fresher tires there towards the end of the race. What was it like? Restarting back in 11th after bolting on those freshies. All right, now let's look forward towards next week. As we said, it is the last race of the regular season next week. And we're going to be coming from the Legacy Phoenix Raceway. So, what's the feeling like for you as we head to Old Phoenix? All right, Jonathan. Now, before we let you go and before your internet cuts out, got anyone you want to give a shout out to here tonight? All right. Well, thank you very much for coming out, Jonathan. Congratulations on coming home with the Hard Charger Award. Look forward to seeing what you can do next week in Phoenix. And I think his internet is gone. Gone, gone. Coming up next, we are going to have our third place getter, and it was a bit of a battle for him, but he just scraped through, battling with the top two. Of course, it is the 92 of Chris Champeau. Chris, one small mistake earlier in the race, and it almost went absolutely tits up for you, but you fought back like an absolute champion and were able to get right up there into the battle for the top three again. All right, so what happened in your incident from your perspective? It was definitely a rough day, and I think when you hit Brian, it was the closest that I've seen a car to going over without them actually going over. So if there's an award for that, then you guys definitely took it out here tonight. But yeah, very challenging race once you were away from that front pack. How bad did the car feel with all that damage, or was it fairly all right? All right, now let's look forward towards next week, Chris. We're going to be going to the Legacy Phoenix Raceway. What's the feeling like for you as we head into old time Arizona?
But you kind of have to drive it like a short track a little bit. It's kind of like Gateway. Um, and that kink is definitely plays tricks with you. It's better on the legacy because you don't have to worry about cutting through the dog leg and stuff like you do on the new one. And sometimes the car wants to spin out and stuff, so you don't deal with any of that. I don't know. We'll see. Hopefully, it's a good race. I'm sure Christian will win. Question is, can anybody else take P2 other than Thomas? We'll find out.
And indeed, we will. So before we let you go here tonight, Chris, anyone you want to give a quick shout out to?
I'll give a shout out to Thomas. We were battling pretty good there, and I know we've had some drama over the course of the season a little bit. Nothing crazy, but he raced me really clean, and I appreciate that because you could easily, just be a dick for no reason whatsoever. And he was really cool. We got real close a couple times, and I thought for sure we were gonna try and wreck each other, but we raced clean, and I appreciate that from him.
All right, Chris. Thank you very much for coming out. Congratulations on coming home P3, and we look forward to seeing what we can do next week at Legacy Phoenix.
Yeah, buddy.
All right, guys, that was our third place getter, and a hard fought third place it was for the 92 of Chris Champeau. Coming up next, we're going to have our second place getter, and of course, our second place getter is the 38 of Mr. Thomas Harmon. Thomas, you had to battle hard with Chris early in the race, but after he had his incident, it seemed to be pretty smooth sailing there for you in P2.
Yeah, it was really hard to pass on the bottom when they pinched down, and because you just couldn't get the run off. And once he it looked like he was sleeping on the restart there a little bit, so once I got by him, I was like, "Oh, thank God!" and just kind of tried to maintain the spot from there.
Yeah, it definitely looked like it was a bit of a challenge early on, especially with Chris there. But once you eventually got around him on that one restart where he did have the sleep, you know, it just looked like you and Christian were just absolutely rolling this for everything it was worth, and then some, especially with the frequency of cautions that we had.
Yeah, any heat that we built up in the tires would pretty much go away with the cautions, especially with them being so frequently there for a while, well, until the end. But um, yeah, it definitely allowed us to stay as quick as we were and allowed us to hold on to the top two spots there at the finish.
Now, towards the end of the race, when Chris did make his way back up into the top four, were you worried that you're going to be in for a little bit of a battle with him, especially considering he had those slightly fresher tires as well?
I was. I didn't know how bad his car was hurt. Didn't know he was in that. He had been involved in another one. So I know that him and I were running the corners differently. He would send it in a little bit harder than I would. And so, to be quite honest, I was expecting to get turned at some point, but it looked like he just didn't have the car to really challenge. And um, for better or worse, it played out to our benefit.
Now let's look forward towards next week, Thomas. It's the final race of the regular season, and we're going to be going to the Legacy Phoenix Raceway. So, what's the feeling like for you as we head into the desert?
Well, we'll have to get used to running that one again, but I think it's going to be fun. I enjoyed the old Phoenix. I still do enjoy the old Phoenix whenever we run there, and yeah, just go out and have fun, basically.
All right, Thomas, before we let you go here tonight, mate, anyone you want to give a quick shout out to?
Yeah, shout out to you up in the booth. All the fans that come out and watch each week. All the drivers, the drivers' council, and good old Scooby Doo for being on the car this week.
All right, thank you very much for coming out, Thomas. Congratulations on coming home P2. We look forward to seeing what you can do next week at Phoenix.
Sounds good. I'll be there.
All right, guys, that was our second place getter, 38 of Thomas Harmon. Coming up next, we have our winner of the race, and he led the entire way through. And of course, that is the 17 of Christian Budd. Christian, you got the lead on that first initial start, and just didn't look back from there, mate. Everything was just, gravy train on biscuit wheels, bro.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think Chris spun his tires on that initial start, which obviously he had a really good pace tonight. Put down a really strong Q lap and got the pole. So, um, but when I was able to get the lead there, just with the way this track is, you it gives you so much of an advantage to be able to control all the restarts and everything, and you get so many cautions. So it's really just that question of you knew you needed to pit at least once. When do you pit? And then there was definitely a fresh tire advantage. Um, so you were kind of at risk staying out there if we got a longer green, but didn't really get that but the one time tonight. So overall, it was pretty smooth. Went pretty well. I was a little nervous at the end just with the fresh tires that were behind us, but fortunately, we were able to hang on.
Yeah, it definitely looked like you had absolute full control of the restarts. But I was just wondering why you always chose the inside line. I thought maybe if you wanted to give a little bit of an advantage to your team captain, you'd let him start on the restart at least once.
Yeah, I considered it briefly, but problem is that um, if you go in there side by side, you're kind of stacking everybody up. I just felt like, from what I needed to do to try and win that race, I just really needed to stay on the bottom. I wish I could have done more to help Thomas out there, but he managed pretty well, fortunately, all things considered. So, we definitely do work as a team, but we also I think we have the understanding that when it comes time to race, you really everybody needs to kind of look out for their own race too.
All right, now since it was a fairly boring race for you, I don't really have any more questions about the race. So let's move on to next week when we go to the Legacy Phoenix Raceway. What's it feeling like for you as we head into Cactus Country?
Yeah, it's a pretty fun track. Hopefully, we get a setup that's good. That track, if it's tight, man, it just gets it's not super fun. But if we get a little bit free where we can really rotate up off the corner, that'll be pretty fun. So I'm hoping that we get something we can work with there. Um, but it's kind of a rhythm track. I mean, I will say as far as cautions and things, that track does tend to spread out a little more. So I wouldn't be surprised to see some green flag runs, but wouldn't also be surprised to see at the end if we get a bunch of green white checker kind of stuff because once you bunch everybody back up, it's going to be really aggressive.
Especially with old tires, I noticed that tires around there can be a bit of a commodity, and it's very easy to spin them up like it is here.
Yeah, definitely. Tires will be a big strategy, and it's still kind of a hard track to pass at. So you kind of got to manage like, okay, how many cars do I have to pass to get back to the front if I take tires? How long do I have? I think when we went there in the ARCA car a little while back, I managed to win that race, but it was only by just a little bit because those fresh tires were coming, and it was sort of a similar situation. So it's always, you're hoping guys will stay out with you if you do stay out there at the end.
All right, Christian. Before we let you go here tonight, anyone you want to give a quick shout out to, mate?
Yeah, just everybody at Output who puts these races on. They're always a lot of fun. All the drivers, you know, it's Martinsville. You always expect a lot of cautions, but prior to this, we've had quite a few green flag runs, which has been great. And everybody's respectful. They're doing their best, trying not to wreck each other and things like that. So a lot of fun to race here. And then of course you for doing the broadcast. I'm sure this one was not too riveting with all the pacing, but hopefully we'll put on a good one for you next time we're out here.
All right. Well, thank you very much for coming out, Christian. Congratulations on another big win, and we look forward to seeing you at the final round of the regular season next week at Phoenix.
Thank you.
All right, guys. There he is, the winner, the 17 of Mr. Christian Budd. But that is going to wrap things up for us here tonight. Thank you all for coming out. It was definitely a race, and it definitely happened. 16 cautions, incredible. But until next week when we go to Phoenix, I've been your commentator, the Aussie Sim commentator. We'll see you guys in Arizona.